I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I've been with Sarah for about 4 years now. We were supposed to get married in 2 weeks. Everything seemed perfect, or at least that's what I convinced myself. She was smart, beautiful, ambitious, and seemed genuinely into me. We had good times, and I thought she was the one. We had minor fights here and there, but nothing serious enough to shake the foundation of what I believed was a solid relationship. But lately, I'd started noticing things. Small stuff at first. She'd leave her phone lying around more often than usual. When I asked about it, she'd brush me off, call me paranoid, or say she was just tired from work and wanted some space. She'd come home late from work, sometimes claiming she was working late on projects or having drinks with colleagues. Honestly, I didn't want to be that guy who accused her without proof, so I tried to ignore it. Still, there was a nagging feeling in the back of my mind that something wasn't right. The real red flag was that she became increasingly bitchy and dismissive whenever I brought up her late nights or her friends at work. She'd snap, calling me insecure or jealous, which I guess I was starting to feel I was. I mean, I trusted her, but the gut feeling was there, gnawing at me. I'd catch her in little lies, like she'd say she was at the gym when I knew she wasn't, or she'd suddenly change her plans without warning. It was subtle, but enough for me to start questioning things. Still, I wasn't ready to jump to conclusions. I loved her after all, and I wanted to believe she was just stressed or busy. Then, the night before our wedding, everything changed. I found the evidence I'd been dreading. I was helping her pack her bag in the morning just to be sweet and organized, and that's when I saw it. Her purse was on the kitchen table, and I decided to check inside just out of curiosity. I don't know why. I guess I was trying to feel normal to clear my head. That's when I found the hotel key card. It was tucked inside a small compartment, almost like she didn't want to get caught. My heart stopped for a second. I thought maybe I was overreacting, so I kept looking. That's when I saw the messages on her phone, texts from her boss, Paul, talking about how their night was just the beginning and can't wait for the next time. The tone was flirty, suggestive, and definitely not professional. I just stared at the screen, speechless. My stomach twisted. All the signs, all the doubts, they hit me like a freight train. That hotel keycard was the final nail in the coffin. I felt sick. I felt betrayed. I felt like I'd been living a lie for months. I couldn't believe it. My wife, the woman I was supposed to marry, was sneaking around with her boss, possibly hooking up with him. I wasn't sure what hurt more, the fact that she cheated or that she lied to my face about working late at the office. It was like everything I thought I knew about her was just a mask, and behind it was this completely different person. I didn't sleep a wink that night, just holding the evidence in my hand and trying to process what I'd discovered. The morning after I found the hotel keycard and those messages, I was a mess. I couldn't believe I was about to marry someone who had been lying and sneaking around with her boss. My mind was racing, trying to figure out what to do, what to say, how to confront her without losing my mind. I knew I couldn't keep this to myself longer. I had to face her, but I also knew I had to be careful, not just for her sake, but for my own. I woke her up, even though I felt like I was dragging a dead weight. She was still half asleep, lying there in that innocent way she always did, like she didn't have a clue what I'd just uncovered. I looked at her with a mix of anger, disappointment, and hurt. I couldn't even get the words out at first. My throat was tight and my hands were trembling. Finally, I just blurted, "Who is Paul, Sarah?" She blinked, confused for a second, then she sat up straight, her face shifting into that cold, bitchy expression she always had when she was about to lie or spin some BS. "What are you talking about?" she asked, voice dripping with annoyance. "I do know what you mean." I pulled out the hotel keycard and laid it on the bed between us. Her eyes widened for a split second, but she quickly put on that "I'm innocent" mask. "You've been snooping," she snapped. "You're crazy. That's just a hotel key for a business trip or whatever. I was working late, that's all." I didn't buy it, no way. How could she pretend so easily? I knew her too well. She was good at lying, but her eyes kept flickering, showing her nerves. I pressed her further, asking why she was texting Paul those things. She rolled her eyes, scoffing. "It's just work stuff you're overthinking," she said. "You're so paranoid. Maybe you should relax and stop accusing me of cheating all the time." That's when I lost it. I told her I saw the messages, saw the hotel key, and that I wasn't stupid. I told her I knew she'd been lying to me for months, that I was done with her bullshit. Her reaction was infuriating. She sat there, lips pressed together, trying her best to look annoyed, like I was the one causing the trouble. "Seriously, Jake," she hissed, "you're just being dramatic. Maybe I was just having a little fun. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It's just sex, you know. People do stupid things when they're stressed, and I was feeling overwhelmed. I swear to God I wasn't planning on leaving you. I love you." That was the moment I realized how good she was at spinning stories. She was a master at making me doubt myself, at turning her betrayal into some kind of mistake she made because she was under pressure. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I was furious, devastated, and honestly feeling betrayed on a level I couldn't put into words. My stomach was in knots and I couldn't think straight. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how she could look me in the eyes and lie so easily. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. This wasn't just about cheating, this was about trust, the core of everything I thought we had. I didn't sleep that night, replaying every moment, every conversation, every time I brushed off that nagging feeling. I knew I had to make a decision, and it had to be soon. I couldn't keep pretending I was okay with this. The wedding was supposed to be in 2 weeks, but now I wondered if I could even go through with it. I started thinking about what I wanted, whether I could forgive her, whether I wanted to. The worst part was, deep down, I knew this was just the beginning of the end. The betrayal ran too deep, and I felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, unsure if I should jump or step back. After I confronted Sarah that morning, everything changed in an instant. Her usual bitchy, dismissive attitude turned into a mix of anger and smugness, like she thought she'd won some kind of battle. She looked at me with that cold stare, those eyes flashing with defiance. "You're overreacting, Jake," she said, voice dripping with sarcasm. "It's not a big deal, you're just being insecure. I've told you it's nothing serious, just sex, that's all. Nothing to get all crazy about." I couldn't believe her. How could she lie so easily? How could she dismiss months of sneaky messages, hotel stays, and her blatantly flirting with her boss as nothing? It was like she had built this entire facade to cover up her real actions. I felt a wave of rage and sadness hit me like a freight train. I was furious that she would just brush off the betrayal, that she would try to gaslight me into thinking I was the crazy one. I told her I wasn't going to let her call the shots anymore. I told her I needed time to think, that I couldn't marry her in good conscience after what I'd discovered. Her reaction was to call me paranoid, cling to her victim mentality, and accuse me of ruining everything because I didn't trust her. "You're ridiculous," she spat. "You're just jealous because I'm beautiful and successful and you're not. If I wanted Paul, I could have him. It's just sex, Jake. It doesn't mean anything." Her words cut deeper than I expected. I felt like I'd been punched again, only this time in the stomach. I spent the next few days in a daze trying to piece together what I should do. I kept replaying the evidence in my head, those messages, the hotel keycard, her smug attitude. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Every single time I thought about her, I felt this mix of heartbreak and pure rage. How could she betray me like this? How could she lie so convincingly? I started questioning everything, my judgment, our entire relationship, my own worth. I also started noticing more signs she was still hiding things. She'd get defensive whenever I asked about her phone, or she'd suddenly cancel plans at the last minute, saying she was working late again. One night I decided I couldn't keep pretending I was okay with this. I knew I had to get out, or at least get some clarity. I couldn't marry someone who thought she could cheat on me, lie to my face, and then dismiss it all as nothing. I made up my mind to confront her one last time, to demand answers or end it for good. I wanted to tell her that I knew she'd been lying, that I knew about the affair with Paul, and that I couldn't live with that betrayal. But I also knew I had to prepare myself for the worst. She was manipulative and bitchy, and I wasn't sure what she'd do when I called her. Out, would she cry, deny everything, try to turn it around on me? Or worse, would she get angry and escalate things? I felt like I was walking into a trap, but I couldn't stay silent. I had to face her, face the truth, and decide whether I could forgive her or if I was already too deep in the hole. That night I sat on the couch, staring at my phone, trembling. I knew I couldn't keep living like this, not knowing whether she'd be honest or keep lying. My heart was pounding, partly from anger, partly from heartbreak. I realized I'd already lost part of myself in all of this, and I was just trying to hold on to whatever was left. Every fiber of my being was screaming for clarity, for honesty. I just didn't know if she had it in her to give me that anymore. The next day, I decided I couldn't just sit around waiting for her to slip up or for some miracle to happen. I needed to confront her head-on, face her bullshit directly. So I called her after work and told her I wanted to meet. Her voice was already defensive, like she knew what I was about to say. When we met up at that small cafe near her office, she was wearing her usual bitchy smirk like she thought she'd won some sort of game. I looked her in the eyes and told her I had seen everything, the messages, the hotel keycard, the way she was sneaking around. I told her I knew she'd been lying to me for months and I wanted the truth. Her reaction was to roll her eyes, sigh loudly, and say, "God, Jake, you're so dramatic. It's not like I cheated on you. I was just messing around, a little flirt, that's all. It doesn't mean I don't love you." She dismissed the whole thing like it was no big deal, but I wasn't having it. I pressed her harder, asking her why she kept lying, why she was so bitchy and dismissive. That's when she snapped. "You think I'm the bad guy here, you're just jealous and insecure. Honestly, I don't know why I even married you. You're so damn possessive. Paul is just a boss, a friend. We're not having sex, okay? I swear. You're making a big deal out of nothing." Words made my blood boil. I was so angry I could barely speak. I told her the messages proved otherwise and I'd seen enough. I said I was done pretending, done with her lies. I told her I didn't want to spend my life with someone who thought she could cheat, lie, and then dismiss it all as nothing. I saw her face twist into that classic sneer and she spat back. "You're just a pathetic, jealous loser. If you can't handle me having a little fun, then maybe you're not enough for me anyway." That was the moment I realized I'd been played. She was good at twisting things, at making me doubt myself. I felt betrayed on every level. I thought about all those nights I spent working late, all the times I felt like she was hiding something. Turns out I was right. She had been hiding a whole different life from me, one where she was messing around with her boss, probably for months. I couldn't believe I almost married her without knowing. After that conversation, I just stood up and left. I didn't yell, didn't scream. I just knew I had to. Get out of there. I barely made it home before my mind was racing with all the thoughts, all the feelings I couldn't process. I was angry, devastated, and honestly, feeling like I'd been a fool for trusting someone who clearly didn't care about me. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I was so blind to what was really happening behind my back. The betrayal cut deep, and I knew that whatever came next, I'd never see her the same way again. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying everything, her words, her sneers, the messages, the hotel keycard. The image of her lying to my face, acting like I was overreacting, made me feel sick. I kept thinking about what I should do next. Do I confront her again? Do I try to forgive her? Or do I just cut her out of my life and move on? Honestly, I was leaning toward the latter. I felt the kind of pain that digs deep, the kind that makes you question everything you believed about love and trust. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a heavy weight in my chest. I knew I had to make a choice, either keep fighting for a relationship that was clearly over or finally accept that she was gone for good. I decided I needed to talk to her one last time, not to argue but to get closure. I reached out and asked her to meet, just to talk honestly, no accusations, no bullshit. When she arrived, she looked surprisingly calm, almost smug. She sat down across from me, crossing her arms and smirking like she already knew she'd won. I looked straight at her and told her that I'd discovered everything, the messages, the hotel keycard, the lies. I told her I couldn't stay with someone who betrayed me like this, that I was done. I asked her if she even cared about what she'd done or if she just saw me as some backup plan or a fool to use. She blinked, then rolled her eyes. "Jake, you're overreacting. I didn't cheat on you. I swear. Okay, maybe I flirted, but it was just sex talk, nothing serious. I love you. I didn't mean to hurt you." Her voice was so dismissive, so full of that fake innocence, that I almost lost it. I told her her love was a lie, that her actions proved she didn't respect me or our relationship. She started crying, but I saw right through it. That crocodile tears, the fake sniffles, they weren't convincing. She was just trying to manipulate me into staying. I knew her game and I wasn't falling for it. I told her I was done wasting my time on someone who didn't value me, didn't respect me, that I was going to cut her out of my life for good. She told me I was overreacting, that I was being unreasonable, that I was just jealous because I couldn't handle her success and her beauty. That's when I realized I'd been the fool for so long, convincing myself she was the one. That conversation was the end of it. I stood up, told her to leave, and I never looked back. The heartbreak was intense, but I knew I had to do what was right for me. I wasn't going to stay with someone who had lied and cheated behind my back. Honestly, I felt relief mixed with the pain. I knew I'd learned from this, but right then, all I wanted was to get some distance and breathe again. Looking back, I've learned that trust isn't something you can take for granted. And sometimes, the person you love the most can turn out to be someone you barely recognize. Trust your gut, because no matter how much you want things to work out, if the signs are there, if the person you're with is lying and sneaking around, it's better to face it and cut ties before it's too late. I don't regret ending it. I just wish I'd seen the signs sooner. Since parting ways with Sarah, I've felt like I've been slowly rebuilding myself from the ground up. The initial shock of betrayal was brutal, feeling like I'd been punched in the stomach every time I remembered her lying, her sneering, her dismissiveness. But over time, I started to realize that the biggest lesson was about boundaries and trusting my instincts. I had ignored the warning signs for too long, convincing myself that maybe I was overreacting or that I just misunderstood. But deep down, I knew something was wrong long before I found the messages and the hotel keycard. Honestly, I've gone through a roller coaster of emotions: anger, sadness, betrayal, and finally, strange sense of relief. I feel lighter now, free from the weight of her lies. I've started focusing on myself, my career, and my friends. I've cut out the toxic parts of my life and learned to listen to that little voice in my head that always told me something was off. It's not easy, though. There are nights I still replay everything in my head, wondering if I could have done something differently, if I missed the signs, if I could have saved the relationship somehow. But then I remind myself that I did the right thing by walking away. For anyone out there going through something similar, my biggest advice is to trust your gut. If you're feeling something isn't right, don't ignore it just because you want the relationship to work. It's better to face the painful truth up front than to keep living in denial. People are capable of hiding who they truly are, and sometimes it takes a serious wake-up call to see things clearly. Now, I don't regret what happened because it taught me a lot about myself. I learned how important honesty and respect are in a relationship, and how a lie can destroy everything you build. I also learned that sometimes it's not worth fighting for someone who doesn't respect you enough to be honest. Ending things has opened new doors for me. I'm focusing on healing and moving forward. It's not easy, and I still have days where I feel weak, but I know I'll come out of this stronger. Most importantly, I want anyone reading this to know that you deserve someone who values you, who respects you, and who doesn't play mind games. Don't settle for less just because you're afraid of being alone. The pain of betrayal is real, but so is the relief of finally walking away. I hope my story encourages others to listen to their instincts, stand up for themselves, and never ignore the signs of betrayal. Because in the end, your happiness and self-respect are what matter most.